Hello, my beautiful soul family. Welcome back to the crazy ramblings of Tara's Banana Stories. That we're just going to start calling it what it is. So this is part 2 of my series, and if you watched the last video, I've been sharing my signs and synchronicities of the universe, trying to break it down for you guys, sharing my personal experiences, and this one is all about the day of the 14th. Now, and the day of the 12th and the 13th, I broke it down of all the sign synchronicities that I was getting. Lots of legacy information, lots of union energy coming through, and just abundance again, wealth codes, those types of things. So please watch these in sequence so it builds and you know exactly what I'm talking about when I get to the end. Now, I woke up the day of the 14th and there was some serious anxious energy in me. And I get like this every once in a blue moon where I wake up and all of a sudden it's like literally I feel like there's a fire in my ass and I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta do it now. I gotta move. Like, let's do this. And it's more of like a buildup internally because I know I'm not going anywhere yet. I know it's not in alignment, but there is something that builds and it's more of like, I want it and I want it now energy. Like a total Veruca Salt. Like I'm throwing like a tantrum, like I want it and I want it now. You know, like I get mad at the universe and I'm like, quit making me wait. Even though I am in total recognition that everything needs to come down the pipeline at exactly the right moment, there's a little angry, it's brat teenage side of me that is like not willing to put up with it. But you can't force these things. You can't force the outcome. You need to let everything just transpire the way it needs to transpire. You have to be in rhythm with the universe or everything is going to implode on itself. So I started just like doing something with the energy, and I didn't want to just sit with it because then it's going to fester and I'm going to get angry and then it's not going to be good. So I was like, all right, let's get productive. What can you do that you can kind of channel some of this energy into? I was like, all right, let's go through your trunk. Let's start to kind of prepare because I know I'm moving. And let's go through your trunk and move and shift some things around. Now, I don't have much in my trunk right now. Everything has been moved into this house that I'm in, but I have my camera bag still in there because I used to have this wonderful Nikon camera that I take pictures with, but I dropped it and it broke the back screen and now it won't even turn on. So I need a new camera. So if anybody's out there and they want to gift me a Nikon or a Canon, I would not complain whatsoever. So let's just put that out into the universe. If anybody has a gift for me, I would love a new camera. I have the lenses already, but I just really need a camera body. So I moved my camera bag for whatever reason. It was on the right-hand side of my trunk. I moved it to the left side. Big power move, I know. And then I took this manila envelope that had I had kept it in my trunk for whatever reason. My grandmother, when she passed away, she was my bonus gram. So my biological grandmother on my mother's side passed away before I was born. When my mom was still pregnant, my grandma died. And my bonus gram came in to marry my grandpa, and she was like my partner in crime for my life. She was so supportive, so amazing, so loving, and always was cheering me on no matter what I was doing in my life. And when she passed away, my mom sent me a big manila envelope filled with pictures that my grandma kept of me from when I was first born all the way up until I would say early 20s maybe. And then the pictures stopped. But she was huge on taking pictures and capturing moments. And she did this with not only just me, but she had tons of grandchildren and great-grandchildren. She had tons of albums on her Facebook. She shared all these pictures. She shared other people's pictures. She was so big on preserving memories, preserving legacies. Okay, so this is a big theme of what I was personally experiencing with some of that other stuff that was coming through was, our past selves. And I went through, it was a huge stack of pictures, all right? And I went through them originally when she had passed away. And my mom sent them to me when I was still living in Arizona. And I kept them in my trunk. And then that morning, I decided to pull them out and to look at them again. And there were a couple things tucked in that really kind of like caught my attention. But as I was going through the pictures, and some were like with other family members, some were, you know, just of me growing up, and then, you know, mixed in with some of them and vacations and all sorts of stuff. But a couple pictures stood out to me. The first one is when I was a little girl. This is one of my favorite pictures of myself, standing next to these beautiful flowers. And guess what's planted on the side of my friend's house? Are these gladiolas? And I love this picture of me. I look so adorable and so happy, and so flippin' innocent. Look at that face. I love this picture of me. So I pulled it out, all right? And then this one. And we're gonna get to this because the snow scenes are big right now. And make a mental note of the color of this dress, white and red, right? That's gonna be very, very important later on too. Love this picture of me, and my hair was super curly. They used to call me Curly Sue sometimes from that movie. Just beautiful. I love this picture of me. Again, just so precious. And the snow scene, so important. Red and white, okay? Keep this in mind. Big one. All right, so then I get to the pictures of my grandparents. Now, there weren't many in my envelope that were just of them. There weren't just them by themselves. All of them were of me with family, me with them, but there weren't a lot of pictures of just my grandma and grandpa, except for these ones. Here's my grandmother. We used to call her Gram or Grandma Lala. That was her nickname. And look at where she's at. She's sitting in a sunroom. All right, so I love you, Gram. I freaking miss her. Shit. And then my grandpa. Dressed as a witch. And I started cracking up when I saw this picture because, of course, I would get my gram in a sunroom and then my grandpa as a witch because it got passed down to me. Thanks, Grandpa. And I was like, I didn't know you were a warlock as soon as I saw this picture. It's like, thank you for passing that down the bloodline because, yes, I do a little magic. And this time, I'm not going to get burnt at the stake, but there were times in past lives that they tried coming for me, but we're not going to go there. We're going to keep this lighthearted. But yeah, so the two of them sitting in a sunroom and doing witchy shit. And right below me on this baker's rack, let me see if I could twist this just enough. I hung that floating broom like a few weeks ago before I found this picture. You can't make it up. So here's Grandpa in his witch hat with his floating broom. And here's my grandma in her sunroom. So it's like they've been coming through so strongly here. And I think it's because they are also helping me on this next part of my journey. So after I found those pictures, I took them out. I put them on my little altar space. And I was just like, you know, I just love them. I miss them so much. And I had a dream of my gram on my birthday. And in my dream, she handed me a lottery scratch-off ticket. And before I even scratched off the top of it, I was crying. Now, what do you normally use to do scratch-off? You use a coin, right? A penny, Dollar Tree, or quarters. Sometimes, I don't know why, I use pennies or quarters. And quarters are linked to Aldi, which has been coming through too. Like quarters, crazy energy, pennies and quarters. Okay, so in my dream, I started crying because I already knew it was a winner. I already knew that I was winning like a shit ton of money. So I'm thinking about this stuff and I get a notification on my phone from Google. I have no clue why I started getting these announcements from Google. I never used to get them before. And it was an announcement that someone in the Illinois area won $1 million off of a scratch-off ticket. And I was like, yeah, okay. It's going to happen. And we're going to continue to talk about this because I am going to be the first millionaire in my family, and it's going to be crazy. So that particular morning, I had lots of upcoming Mars energy coming through. Now, again, I've talked about Mars just entering Taurus yesterday, but it was building up with my Go Mars license plate that I shared when I was like going AWOL over my wealth codes. And it came in during like that same time of getting the wealth code, seeing the Mars one. So it's almost like now this is the transit and could potentially be the channel of when some of this actually starts coming into fruition, but we shall see. I'm trusting the universe. It knows what it's doing with its alignment, so I'm not going to question it. But lots of YouTube videos right now and Instagram content that I only use for my energy updates and for any sign, like certain signs or synchronicities that want to come through, and like validation of what I'm already sensing and feeling, but lots of Mars energy. Now, Mars is all about action, forward movement. It's a warrior, and it's considered the sacred fire. Now, sacred fire, or like a sacred flame. Sacred flame too is concerning your heart. But when I decided, and we're going to get to this way later, all right, this is a whole nother day's worth of messages that were so insane. But I printed off all the pictures of my sanctuary. I decided after some of this had gone down that I needed to print those pictures. All of them, I had 44 pictures that I sent to a Walgreens, and we're going to get into all that. The story is going to blow your mind. But I have in my house that I designed, I have 8 bedrooms upstairs, and there's 4 on each side of the house. There's a left wing and a right wing of the house. Left wing is the more feminine side. That's where the kitchen is, the dining space, a reflection room. All of it leads to an integration room in the back of the house. Upstairs is 2 rooms on each side of a hallway. One side is forest view. The other side is a view into the atrium of the house, which is a courtyard. It's the atrium inside. It's built inside of the house structure. So it's where there's some outdoor seating. There's a fire pit area, or grill area for an outdoor kitchen. There's a little bar area. That's where my fountain is going to be at, of me and Avery, and some other things. So totally discuss at a later point in time. But anyways, one of the bedrooms that I printed out of the 8 that I have on each side, and they're all earth, air, fire, water to balance the house out, is all themed around the elements on each side. So left side has those 4, and then the right side also has those 4 as a theme of the color scheme and the names of the rooms. The only door picture that I kept as a template, as just an idea of what it looked like. I didn't want to have to recreate each single door. So I only did one, knowing it was going to be the same door for all of the rooms, and then these little plaques with the names, so that when people come and stay, they know what room they need to go to. Is I had printed the sacred flame door. All right, so these would be on the upstairs. I have a lot of the houses built with brick to make it very secure, to make sure that this thing it's built like the freaking Roman Forum. It's like this shit's gonna be standing like the thousands of years from now, because people are gonna be still visiting my sanctuary, way down the pipeline. This is a legacy that I'm leaving. All right, it's not built like some cookie cutter house where the siding is going to fall off in 4 days. It's built like an avalanche or a Dorothy tornado is going to go through, and the shit's still going to be standing. So anyways, Mars energy, because I did the sacred flame door. All right, so there's that little prop. Hope you guys like it. I feel like it's like kind of show and tellish, right? So anyways, I made a note in my journal that I was just feeling all of this stuff, and when I was writing about my scratch off dream, and this notification that came through on my phone, because yes, I do document all of this stuff, I had written in my journal, I'm going to find my golden ticket. All right, so we'll get to that later, because I did find a golden ticket. I went to TJ Maxx after that. So after I looked at my photos and all that stuff, I went to TJ Maxx to buy a new journal for myself, because I've told you guys 1,000 times I go through these things like water every couple of days, or not days, but like every couple of weeks I'm going through a new journal. And while I was there, 2 books stood out to me. On this end cap, where all the journals are kept, there was like a little section of books. And again, universe is going to use whatever tools it knows to communicate with you. And books have become a big one with me. And I never used to read, like, again, because I used to make fun of myself, of me